You mean about Ikutsuki going to share his, have a meeting with us? Yeah, you might want to conveniently have an excuse for not going because, you will suffer death by puns. Oh wait, it's different news. It does seem like all evidence points to that being true. Cases of apathy syndrome increased just before the shadow attacked, and people are getting better after it's gone. Oh yes, the greater enemy than shadows. Midterms! And actually, in Japan, that's probably true. Oh yeah, and get ready to not see any of those lunchtime sequences that show you which social link's available. Hey, even Junpei's not here now. Oh, Yukari. Yeah, it's getting very quiet at school, and that means, because we're not tired, we have nothing left to do here. Also, this guy says something kind of interesting if you talk to him now. He says that he likes exams because it gives him a chance to flaunt his knowledge. Gonna get the highest score in the entire 11th grade and impress Mitsuru. This is actually hinting at something, but it's not gonna pay off until much, much later. I guess I should mention now, getting first place in one exam is a requirement for starting Mitsuru's social link. The main reason why we're not too concerned about it at this point though, I mean like concerned about getting good scores in exams, is that Mitsuru's social link, like in itself, doesn't even start until November. So really, we have plenty of time, and by the time we get to the point where we can even start her social link, we'll have enough academics that we can just get the highest score on an exam pretty effortlessly. So we don't really need to worry now. Once again, more time at the bookstore. This is going to be a running theme for this week. I suppose you can kind of study for exams at a bookstore, but we're spending all our time trying to solve the problems of an old couple. Oh no, that's not good. Oh no, no, no. Ikutsuki's rubbed off on him! Run for your lives! And sadly, this is actually the best option to say here, so I have to do it. Oh yeah, if you like making stupid puns whenever you feel like it, you'll certainly like someone else who's at Gary Sue's dorm. That was pretty easy to figure out. But we didn't know this before. Doesn't seem like there's any problems with that tree either. Why would they cut it down? Also, these options, you can say either one. Really, they're both basically the same thing. Oh, you have no idea. Though, ironically, the bookstore owner's wife is pretty much the only female in this entire game who doesn't fall for Gary Stu. Well, in social links at least. She's like one of 2 female characters in social links who doesn't fall for him. So yeah, you see why Gary Stu chose to come to this world. Definitely a hotspot for potential S supports. And yes, now we're at rank 5, this is the point where you want to get Omoikane. So if you don't have it already, go to the Velvet Room tonight and make sure you fuse it. Crab bread. I actually googled that, and apparently it's a real thing. Yeah, of course they are. Okay, so chances are if we tried to go to Tartarus today, Yukari would not be able to accompany us, and that's very bad, so we're definitely not going to Tartarus today. Thankfully, it's an arcade day, so we wouldn't go anyway. And you already said that. Okay, it's not the 14th. For the 14th, we need to remember that we need to get something from the dorm. Oh, Junpei's lines are awesome. That's pretty much what I tell myself anytime I have exams. I suppose I'll study, starting tomorrow. Yeah, that is about the panic status. And for the first time in ages, there's actually nothing interesting on the news. That is very rare. Anyway, nothing much to do but head out tonight again. So I believe our courage is at tough now. Now, in my practice run, I actually got another courage level up during this week, but I'm not sure if that was because I was tired so much. And let's play the horror house again. I actually missed the horror house on my practice run, and I still got a courage increase. Anyway, now that we're actually not tired, we can get an academics boost out of studying, which might help towards the next exam, though I doubt that we'll actually get a rank up to academics before then. I'm not sure we'll do so well with only average in academics. Oh, he got, like, tired, I think, in my practice run. At least we got the tiredness boost once so far. Wednesday, not quite the day for getting that item from the dorm. And yes, the reason why I'm pointing that day out is that if you miss that day specifically, you've failed one of Elizabeth's side quests, and you will not be getting 100% of the side quests for that whole playthrough. Yes, it's that jerkish. Well, that's not good. Wow, that sounds suspiciously like another shadow incident, but we weren't there to stop that one. Oh, you have no idea. If only they knew. I think this is your first hint at the weird medicine in the nurse's office, but we've been doing that for much longer, so we don't really need that. Once again, we're going to have another fairly quick day if we don't get a class session. And looks like we are getting a class session because it didn't go to after school. The Earth's rotation. And of course he gets called out because he always does. Although I'm pretty sure the rest of the class gets called out too, you just don't see the days where they get called out. And good luck answering this one without looking it up. It is 1,700 kilometers per hour, and I like that they're using metric because, well, this is Japan. Japan uses metric, but that is admittedly a little bit jerkish to American players, though. Now, remember the wording of this sentence specifically. Near the equator, the Earth spins faster than the speed of sound. Remember that. I kind of know how this guy feels, just flipping through textbooks. Sometimes you see, oh wait, there's an experiment there. Oh look, it's... Sometimes the teachers just don't make us do certain experiments, and that was always annoying. At least it meant there was like one less page you had to study. And because we're not tired... Oh hey look, Yukari's back. Yeah, Yukari's hinting at how you get tired by studying at night, but we already know that. You can actually study in the library to boost your academics, but that interferes with our social link schedule, so we're never going to do that in this entire playthrough. Unless we, have some... I mean, I'm pretty sure that by the time we do max out most of our social links, because we will have some free days towards the end of the game, but, again, I'm pretty sure that by the time we've done that, we will have maxed our academics already, so... I mean, you need max academics to even start Mitsuru's social link anyway, so, Now, today might be a little bit different from normal at the bookstore. So, this is what a quote-unquote spend time looks like when you get to a social link. I believe this is the first time we're actually seeing this. If you don't have enough social link points to get the next rank up when you visit one of them, you'll just get a generic conversation that just says, you spend time with insert character name here. And if it says your relationship could become stronger soon, that means that you'll be getting a rank up the next time you see them. Now, this is scripted into Penguin Knight's Max Social Links guide. You'll see here that it says Hierophant ST, or spend time. If you ever see a spend time conversation like this, at a point where the guide does not say that it's a spend time day, you've screwed up earlier in the schedule and might have to reload a save. Ah, the woes of a Max Social Links run. I actually did have that happen to me when I was on my first playthrough, and it was actually not due to screwing up a social link event, it was due to something else that I didn't even know was possible to screw up. I'll talk about that much later. Now, think about it. In fact, today might not be a bad day to do that. Huh, hey, she actually still wants to go. That's cool. Nakiyo's explaining rage here. That's what that provoke skill that I've got on Nekomata does. It makes, yeah, like you said, your attack power and speed increases, but you have lowered defense when enraged, and you can't do anything except just use standard attacks. It can be quite a helpful tactic against more magic-based bosses, but if you use it on a physical boss, you're gonna get slaughtered pretty quickly. Oh, I'm sorry I even turned on the news. Good thing they actually settled for that, because that is incredibly disturbing. Oh yes, Charm. This is one of the most irritating status effects in the game. Mainly because Charm party members can heal enemies. It's particularly important that Yukari is the one mentioning this, because it's very bad if Yukari gets charmed. Especially later in the game when Yukari learns a full healing spell. Full healing does work on enemies, including bosses. Yeah. That is incredibly frustrating. Bosses have like thousands of HP, and if one of them charms Yukari and she uses her full heal on them, it's rage time. Just don't equip any weak weapons or armor. Well, at the moment, Junpei's got the Juzumaru, which is pretty much better than any katana I've got at this point. Wonder if Mitsuru has anything to say here. And she's saying something that she's already said. So, we could actually go to Tartarus tonight. I will point out that we can't actually go to Tartarus this Saturday due to, well, exams, basically. So, if you want to go to Tartarus, do it on any night that is not Tuesday or Friday, that's not an arcade day. If you get tired or sick a few times this week, you can probably afford to skip out on karaoke, but because we haven't been as lucky with that, I'm actually going to go out and do that. I don't think I'm going to be going to Tartarus this week. The next time we visit Tartarus, which will be after exams, thankfully exam weeks go by very quickly because you can't social link at all during exams. After that, we'll have a very long Tartarus session, trust me, so we'll make up for it. And, well, we'll have some extra help in the next Tartarus session. Oh yeah, by the way, yeah, you need Omoi Kanen now, so you should have got that yesterday. And by this Sunday, we need Yomoto Shikome, but we already have that now. I always like... Oh, hey, our courage did increase. Our courage has gone from tough to fearless. What can be higher than fearless? Well, you'll see. But that's the second highest courage rank, so we're actually well on our way to maxing courage. Seeing those 2 movies in April is really, really important, by the way, so make sure that you did that back then. Ah, no tiredness, but at least we did get a courage boost. If things keep going like this, we might actually max courage before the deadline, which would give us a lot more free time to do other stuff. Such as maxing our other stats, because after courage is maxed, we never need to focus on charm. We've got a deadline for that too, but it's not nearly as important as courage. And once again, class just ends immediately, and so we, once again, go and do Hierophant. So yes, we're really getting to know the old couple this week. And we're really getting to know this area. Hey, is this girl saying anything different about her teacher? Oh, okay. She is mentioning something else about her cousin. Just realized that thing says Takushi Noriba. Probably like taxi stand. Noriba is like ride. Oh, also, yeah, since there's not much to talk about this week, back at the station it actually says that those first 4 kanji there are Iwatodai Station. And the Iwato in Iwatodai actually means rock door, and I think it might be a reference to Ame no Iwato, which is the door that's, the rock door that is that Amaterasu hid herself behind. For my translation classes at university, I once had to translate a travel guide that was talking about somewhere that claims to be the location of Ame no Iwato, and I got very confused at first before I, have researched into that mythology before, but I just didn't expect to see it in a travel brochure. Oh no, they're depressed again. Does make sense, but... yeah, if it's the last memory they have of their son. This is the best option to say here. Older people do tend to get worried more easily. I know that due to real-life circumstances. Yeah, that must be hard. And once again, we have 2 options that are essentially the same. I'm glad they don't give you any jerkish options for this one, because that would be really insensitive. Oh boy. I think everyone counts as an admirer for Gary Stu. Or, well, Gary Stu's an admirer of everyone as well. It's mutual. Level 6. If we fused a Moekane now, we'd gain much more experience, but we needed to fuse it earlier, so it's unfortunately going to miss out. Once again, more free stuff. Fried bread. Several of these items I don't think you can even get outside of this link. So often I like keeping them around. Okay, it's the 14th now, and that means...
Sup, dude?
Now he's pretty confident. What happens if we tell him to study, though? Yeah, way to make everyone feel inadequate, Mitsuru. And so if we talk to Junpei on this specific night, after accepting the handheld game request from Elizabeth, we can get a handheld game from Junpei. Also, this is kind of hilarious. So, CompStation Portable is obviously a reference to the PSP, but this was written before this game got ported to the PSP, so actually it's kind of hilarious. Even more hilarious if you see what Elizabeth says when you give this to her. So by talking to Junpei on this very specific night, which thankfully they tell you about, we get the handheld game. Unfortunately, we can't really play against Junpei with it because it's not for us, it's for Elizabeth. And Akihiko's still talking about being enraged. Increase? Really? Please stop making me depressed. The Australian dollar's basically been plummeting ever since 2013. I am a little worried that when Fire Emblem Fates comes out, the dollar exchange rate's going to be so terrible that it's going to end up costing me more than it would cost to buy it in Australia. Games are crazily overpriced over here, but normally they're actually cheaper getting the digital versions from America, which is why I have an American 3DS. Back when I first bought that, the Australian dollar to US dollar was basically equal, so just fun random trivia here. It was basically equal, so I basically paid exactly as much, so I got it for much cheaper than I would over here. About $100 cheaper, considering how overpriced the 3DS was in Australia at the time. Let's just go back here to report that item into Elizabeth. Because if the FE Fate Special Edition is $80 US, with the current exchange rate... Oh, Elizabeth's saying something different. That's interesting. Anyway. Both ancient treasures and worthless junk. That's pretty funny. So, this shop is not going to be opening to us for a while, but this is actually a new feature in Persona 3 FES. The ability to fuse personas into weapons. Yeah, it's still closed, though. Once it's open, we'll definitely be talking about that, because a lot of the best weapons in the game you can only get through fusion. So here's the portable game system. Well, you could sort of say that. Speaking of which, what time is it now? I think I've lost track of time recording this game. Oh. So yeah, that's hilarious if you're actually playing this game on PSP with Persona 3 Portable. Curse Paper is basically the same as Purifying Rice, but it's Dark Elemental rather than Light Elemental. Really? I just stumbled on L's and R's. Anyway, that's basically all we went here for. Like I was saying, though, $80 US would be roughly, with today's exchange rate, like 112-ish dollars Australian, which, considering that 3DS games are $60 over here on average, in fact, Awakening was like $70 for quite a long time. I'm guessing the Fate Special Edition here would be like, 120 or even more. It had a placeholder price of $200, but I doubt they're actually going to sell it for that much, though this is not going to all be that relevant if you're watching this in the future, but the Bravely 2nd Special Edition is really overpriced over here as well. Anyway, let's study in an attempt to get tired. And I'm basically doing the rest of this week all in one video because it's all the same social link, so makes sense to have it all together. And we're still not tired. And today is probably a day you don't want to go to Tartarus on because of the arcade. Yes, we are prepared. Of course we are. Oh yes, that subtle threat there. But you do get something if you do get a good grade on the exams. Well, obviously, but we'll be higher level than the last. Akihiko's not quite ready to return to battle, and that's why I didn't exactly want to go to Tartarus this week, because the next part of Tartarus is quite difficult, and we really could use the extra help of a new party member. Also, we got an afternoon. You know what that means? It's time for another question. You know, I really wish they taught translation in high school, but I had to go to university to learn that, and I had to do a specific course after my regular undergraduate degree. Of course, Gary Stu gets picked. This is kind of interesting. So, pun is a Japanese word technically, but it's actually a loan word, and if you have any experience with European languages at all, it's fairly easy to tell that this would translate to bread in English. This is one of the questions that I didn't even need to look up at all. Pancakes is funny, though. Pancakes, I think, would either be pankeki or hotokeki in Japanese, which would also be a loan word. Yeah, so pan is a loan word from Portuguese. There's a lot of Japanese loan words that are from either Portuguese or Dutch, because those were... Basically, Nagasaki was one of the only areas in Japan that was open to Western traders during the isolationist period, and they got a lot of Portuguese and Dutch traders coming into their ports. That's why there's a huge amount of loan words from them. And also, this is going to be on the next exam, so yeah. They're saying that pretty obviously, but yes. The exam basically tests you on questions that you've already had in the term. Not enough for a charm increase, though, but I always like questions about translation, because, again, that is the field that I'd like to get into someday. And I really, really love the localization of the Persona games in general. Like, it's generally really, really top-notch. Except for the 4Kids Persona 1, which, yeah, the less said about that, the better. Anyway, it's time for more, guess what? Old Couple Social Link! And the weird thing is, even though we get this link to a very, very high rank this week, we actually don't max it for a really long time. We get this to about rank 8, and then we stop and don't see them again for ages. Kind of annoying that, but it's just the way the guide's laid out. Also, the link is not going to be leveling up this fast if you didn't have Omoi Kane at rank 5, so make sure you have it. Hopefully we find out a little bit more info about this persimmon tree. The music's happy this time. Ask why she's crying is the best option here. Well, we could probably tell that by the music. Hey, wow, that's amazing! It's great to hear, though, that his students really cared about him. Okay, we do get a jerkish option here, but it's obvious which is the better option. See, even though their sons passed on, he is remembered. He touched so many lives. Also, this question, what you say doesn't matter. But maybe he was, maybe he wasn't. He'll always assume that you were, so that's why that one doesn't really matter. Well, at least you didn't make a bad pun this time. And if we ever need to make a Hierophant Persona later, we'll definitely get a huge boost out of what we've been doing all this week. Level 7. This is the highest we've got a social link in... Yeah, the highest we've got a social link all game. We get a CLO miss from that. I read interesting things about CLO in, what was it, Digital Devil Saga, in that, like, apparently he's actually, like, he's this party member who seems really, really useless, but there's this one specific way they intended you to use him, and if you figure out that way to use him, he's apparently really, really good, but almost no one could actually get that, so they changed him in the sequel because, again, no one could figure out how to use him properly. Apparently it involved, like, deliberately letting him get status so that he benefits from these skills that massively boost his evasion while he's status, but seems kind of weird. Anyway, Mitsuru's explaining fear status, speaking of statuses. It sometimes makes you unable to attack, and it sometimes makes you just run away from battle, which can be really annoying when your allies get that. Yeah. I think it also makes you more susceptible to criticals, like many statuses in this game do. Yeah, we need to study a little bit every day, basically. And once again, nothing interesting on the news. Let's tell the truth. More words of wisdom from Junpei. It's a proven fact that people who say they don't study secretly study their asses off. Anyway, like I said, today is another arcade day, so let's go do that. Also, let's be different and go up this time rather than down. I don't know why I always take the down route, it's just a force of habit, really. Doesn't really matter either way, but, guess we can try and be different there and go up. Let's just check how our money is doing. Now, next week we're going to have virtually no interactivity at all, so it doesn't really matter how much money we have left after this one. I just want to check our status to see. Yes, we're one off maxing courage, so charm is still at the lowest level though. Despite what Bunkichi thinks. So, Horror House once again. Good thing we sold those masks. And I would really like to get tired one of these days. But we're definitely on track to maxing courage. I think I'll go for one more day, then I'll end this part. Because we actually have one more day of Hierophant social link. Yes, we get this link all the way up to rank 8 in 1 week. Because really we have nothing else to do, because all of our school social links are busy studying. And we didn't get tired, of course we didn't. Oh hey, it's Akihiko. Huh, is he not feeling well? Well, that's great. It's only taken you, like, over a month. So, yeah, he is not ready for battle until after midterms. If you go to Tartarus during this week, he won't join you, sadly. Oh, we'll do some serious training after midterms, but until then, we are temporarily Akihiko-less. Okay then. This almost sounds like the kind of thing that Minamimoto would say in The World Ends With You. Again, why do we have this maths teacher? She seems to be terrible. But we're going to stay awake anyway, even though I doubt this could increase our academics. Well, that's good. We won't explode our calculators. Don't even know if calculators are allowed in Japanese exams. I know that over where I live, past a certain year of high school, you were allowed calculators in maths exams. Of course, just because you were allowed calculators doesn't mean they made them easy. If anything, it was an excuse to make them even harder. And once again, we're not tired, so nothing else to do at school. Sometimes when I was doing questions on limit theory, I'd often like to just test test divisions on the calculator to see if the answers approach something. Generally was a good way to check if my answer for what the limit was anything close to correct or not. Just going, okay, so if it approaches 10, okay, I'll do this, and it comes down to like 9.9991, then like 9.9999992, and I'm like, okay, I think it's safe to assume that it approaches 10. How to use your calculator strategically was actually a pretty good skill to learn in those exams, because you couldn't just waste time doing it, everything on it. Anyway, one more time this week, and sadly this will be the last time we see these two for a while. And for some reason, in this one, it doesn't matter what you say to every single question. Yeah, that hint's pretty obvious. So yeah, obviously, these questions don't really... They're pretty much all the same. That must make them feel great. And this one doesn't actually matter either. Unfortunately, you don't actually get to see them going to the school, because the social link conversation ends there. But this is rank 8. Yeah... You might want to be careful about that. Especially seeing as this is a Gary Stu and thus will never lose in a race to anyone.
Welcome back.
Now, if you talk to Mitsuru tonight, so Saturdays are normally our Tartarus date, but if you do talk to her, if we say yes, we can't go tonight or tomorrow, because everyone's busy studying for exams because they're in 2 days. So, sadly, we cannot go to Tartarus tonight. Not only that, but Karaoke and Horror House are not available tonight either. Well, okay then. So, really, we don't have much that we can even do tonight. We could go to the cafe to try and boost our charm. That'll cost money, and I think we want to save that for courage at this point. So, now might be a good idea to just go and study, really, because there is nothing much, really, that we can do tonight without Tartarus. So, with that, though, I think I'm going to save here, because that is a lot of Hierophant boosting. Let's actually just check it. Okay, so look at this, look at this. 3, 4, 1, whoa! Just look how high that is compared to everything else. And the description has changed. Also, you can do this to scroll through your social links, but the main reason why I didn't do that before is it doesn't actually show you the rank directly. Anyway, With that, time to save. So I guess to prepare for exams, best we can do is just go back to our room and study. Really, I'm just doing this to save on money. Oh, hey, look. Akiko and Junpei are here. I think it's not a coincidence. Yeah, sure you did. Yeah, sometimes I wonder about that too. Anyway. Yeah, we're getting this tutorial now because I haven't really done this before. Because normally it's a very bad thing to do, but really all we can really do tonight is just to stay in and study. Tomorrow we're actually going to be not doing Hierophant for once. Still don't know if I'll get an academics increase before the exams start though.